like in my last video, I wanted to talk about telepathy. The video before last. Like I wanted to lecture on telepathy, but I got sidetracked by other thoughts. Like I failed lecturing about telepathy. But telepathy is when you're not alone in your head. When there's like outside forces in your head, when you got like when you've got like an instant messenger in your head and you put an instant messenger together in your head to communicate with the instant messenger. And telepathy is when the cranial regions of your brain are affected by that side is on. Anyway, I think you might be able to see it. A metal tooth. If you got any type of metal in your person, you can be telepathic. You need a metal alloy affixed to your body to be able to pick up radio signals that affect your mental telepathy airwaves. I might be ridiculously mentally ill because my telepathy involves like an office of people that keep up with my internet work, and then they relay their concerns and their adulations back to me in my head. Like I work in an office, and I'm thinking that part of working in an office where you're supposed to just sit in the chair, not do nothing. Well, that's entering into the telepathy of the office. Like to be a part of the group thing, first you have to just sit there for like 2 weeks, not being a part of nothing other than the group thing. Just working your way into the group thing, just experiencing the group thing. Well, if I ever got a job in an office and they were like, you're anything for a while, like just you know what you're supposed to do, but just relax. Like we got along fine without you. Just ease into it. Maybe go see if the fax machine works. Go do that. Go send out some faxes. And telepathy group thinking in an office. Like I'm on the outskirts of telepathy, but there are places where telepathy is more real, where people were like told you're going to be telepathic, and were given information about the telepathy they were going to receive. I was never given information about the telepathy I was going to receive. I was drafted into telepathy. I was drafted into the telepathic ethos of the cerebellum reality. Like my reality is skewed. I experience a mental health quagmire where I usually do fairly well, but I'm surrounded by a reality that meets me in my head, and then I'm concerned with long-term projections of financial security. I'm concerned about my financial security. I never have any money in the bank. So I never have money in the bank, but I'm always sort of taken care of and have time to do something like this. I got time to do something like this. Like I can make sense of nothing. I can make sense of nothing time. I can take a nothing amount of time with a computer or a drawing table, and I can make sense. I know what to do in a studio. I'm aware of what to do in a studio. A studio is not a foreign place to me. I know when you walk into a studio, you turn your back to the door and you get to work. And I just feel like if I was going to lecture on telepathy, I would point out to you that it is like being in the audience of your own thoughts. When you're experiencing telepathy, it's like you're in the audience of your own thoughts, and you're talking to yourself in a voice that is yours, but it's not you that's doing the talking. Like I spend a lot of time. It's called talking to yourself, but what it really is somebody else is using your mouth to communicate with you to you. Or somebody is using your thoughts to communicate with you too, or they just think it's easier to use your mouth to communicate the thoughts because that's like attached to like instant messenger. It's not attached to the radar relay they would normally use. And if you think about things that we've achieved, if you want to be all 1950s about telepathy and be like, whatever, you are clearly out of your mind. Like we got radars, we got AWACS, we got satellites, we got smartphones, we got desktop computers, we got computer chips, we got RAM, we got motherboards, we got mice, we got computer monitors, we got televisions, we got radar dishes. We got satellite link ups. We got navcoms. We got submarines, aircraft carriers, fucking missiles, nuclear missiles. We got a whole. We got pharmaceuticals. There is enough advanced technology, publicly knowledgeable about in public knowledge. Something sort of kept a secret. Something is sort of kept a secret. There's no professional discussion of telepathy on television or the newspaper or the radio, and nobody, like, except for this one band called Radiohead. Tom York might be telepathic because he started a band called Radiohead, and I am some kind of Radiohead. I'm a Radiohead type person, and I like Radiohead type music. So I'm a Radiohead type person who listens to Radiohead type music, and I am the type of person that would be involved in telepathy. And you think I signed a couple times I signed a release to be a couple times I signed a release to be a human test subject. A couple times I signed a release to be a human test subject. So I wonder if one of those releases I signed to be a human test subject led to me becoming a human test subject. But it's like they're testing something they know fully well works. It's not like they're testing experimental technology on me. Like when you know about Montauk and the Philadelphia experiment, when there's several MK Ultra and several and Project Blue Book, and when you've been watching television, the weird parts of television, reading Time Magazine's Mystery of the Year and shit like that when you were a kid, and reading Newsweek your whole life, and just being a part of CNN and MSNBC and ESPN and various other media outlets like Doubleday and Stephen King and Isaac Asimov, robots, robotic technology, MIT. The fact there's an MIT, that's just that's like a training ground for the future. Like they're at MIT right now figuring out how this is going to work out. And I'm looking at the internet and I'm thinking the internet itself is evidence that there could be telepathy. The need to be in contact with people telepathically could be a desperate need. I also think to myself, the people that are communicating to me in this telepathic network that I'm involved in might not have been born yet in terms of physical reality. Like around the year 2800, if there's not telepathy right now, it's that there's not telepathy yet. And I would think that if I was the one thought I had on telepathy as a junior was if I was going to be telepathic with somebody, I would be telepathic with myself. But if there are telepathic airwaves, like if humans can be, if there's a telepathic input and a telepathic output, that shit can get hijacked by some people that brought us the Dell computer. If you're part of the raw material manufacturing base of the Dell computer, you are technologically, if you can roll out 4 million units of Dell computers, you're advanced enough to explore telepathy and rope someone like me and with my 10 years university experience, and you never even contacted me until I got my first apartment and had some time alone. It hasn't been until I was able to spend some time alone that people started contacting me telepathically. And as a telepath, I would like to point out that it is sort of interesting. The girls are cute, the dudes are cool, but there was the one occasion where I had to go to mental health ward because I couldn't handle the cerebral confusion that laced itself through my head. And from what I understand, that guy's in jail right now for how he treated me as a telepath. And this is not something that I do a little bit of thinking about. I actually do a lot of thinking about telepathy. And I don't necessarily know how it works. I was going to write a book about telepathy. It would be based on my own experiences. And really, it's sort of like a head trip. Like you'll space out and stare at nothing other than the words that are, the shapes and the symbols that are occurring inside your head. And when the thought's over, you come back to reality and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is pretty interesting. But telepathy is something that I deal with. And Cincinnati, Ohio has General Electric, Procter & Gamble, IBM, Google, and I hear there's a Facebook outfit somewhere in Cincinnati, Ohio also. But Cincinnati is a very technologically advanced community of people that could very well have decided that me and my 10-year university experience, 1 year at AmeriCorps, I think I would qualify for telepathy, and they might think it was something that I wanted to do, but I don't know. From what I understand, my writing abilities are inhibited because they're using this process on me. There's a processor that's constantly taking up airwaves in my head, And I can't write spec creative, non-creative fiction because the part of my brain that handles creative fiction is being taken up by the people that handle telepathy, and I'm being denied the ability to continue to write. I have a history of writing extensively, and it wasn't until 3 years ago that I started really thinking about telepathy in sum total. 3 years prior to that, I was experiencing foreign sensations in my body throughout my one apartment, and I experienced religious experience in my second apartment, and I've had religious experience in this apartment, and it's just the religious experiences of is all I can explain it telepathy. Like I've had many religious experiences in my life. Like I've gone on walks that are indescribable. I've done things with my car that are just miraculous. And I've had miraculous experiences with my car. I've not ran out of gas when I should have. And well, if I didn't run out of gas, I didn't need to run out of gas. But that needle was buried, and I made it to the gas station a long time ago. And the prayer that I put on while I was driving that car was miraculous. The greatest prayer I ever gave was while I was driving a car on the highway, afraid of losing gas. It was just psychotic, fanatical psychosis of prayer that was beautiful, but at the same time led to me getting gas in a car that was running out of gas, that had no gas. My car had no gas, and it was 20 miles out on the highway, and I still got to the gas station. It might not have been 20 miles, but it was something like that. But driving on the highway with a buried gas needle led you just ecstatic, euphoric exclamations of prayer, and I was lit with the power of the Holy Spirit and the fear that I was going to run out of gas. And I just lit that car up. I had several of these experiences in my car, just me being me in a car that was traveling the universe. And now I don't have a car, but I still get around. Now I just explore the locale, get to know people locally. And I haven't run into anybody else that's telepathic or this open about being telepathic. This is me coming out of the woodwork with this whole concept of telepathy. Like I'm a very telepathic person. I experience telepathy and deep sensations. I'd like to think that I can learn how to lecture if I get off my ass and stand up and start using my voice. I can get to the point where I'm lecturing. I gotta be able to do this for 40 minutes, 3 times a week. I gotta be able to lecture for 40. Those people are miracle workers at the university. Those professors, they work miracles on a schedule. They schedule miracles into their day. They miraculously profess and exclaim thoughts and to the higher caliber intelligences or the people that just decided to go to school. I would like to point out, typically the university brings in the higher caliber intelligences, the people that got the right answers on the test in high school, the people that see teachers, authority figures. A major component of getting into university is realizing your teacher is an authority figure. And when you get to university, you have to realize your professor is an authority figure. People that look up to authority do quite well at university, I will say. It is the people that look up to authority. It's people that look up to authority, not the people that want authority to bow down to them. If you look at an authority figure and think to yourself, well, that person needs to listen to me and do what I say, you're not going to do well at university. If you look at a teacher and think to yourself, she has something valuable to teach, I'm going to learn what this teacher has to teach me, well, then you're going to do great at university. When you're looking at your professors as though they are sources of knowledge, which they are, you will do great. If you look at a professor and think he doesn't know much because all he amounted to was a professor, well, you're not going to do too well at university. But if you make your way through 10 years of university, a year of AmeriCorps, our valedictorian of your high school, which is like 110,000 people in the United States of America, there are about 110,000 valedictorians that were in AmeriCorps. There's a large number of people that are valedictorians. There's a large number of schools. There's a large number of churches. There's a large number of offices. There's just a large factual amount of valedictorians in the United States of America. And they're going to school where everything they learned in high school prepared them for college, which is what high school typically is considered preparation for college. That is typically what what the university is looking for, people that did well in high school. The university is not a get-rich program. It's a life. It's a world that'll make your life more interesting. The university is a world that will make your life more interesting, more better, more bountiful. It'll pull you out of retail. University doesn't have much to do with retail. It'll pull you out of being a cashier. It'll pull you out of being a bank teller. It'll pull you out of some of those things and give you the chance, if you like I pursued university and then was given the opportunity to enroll in a mental health community, and I was found to be mentally ill, and then I got a Social Security stipend, and I was paying off my loans with my Social Security stipend while I was going to university and getting good grades. And it took me 10 years to graduate from university because I kept changing majors and had some traumatic. I actually don't know how I made it through the 10-year experience. Like I did international and national travel as a student. I did open mics. I smoked weed. It was really just an intense sort of longevitous experience that taught me a song with which I can sing with. And this song has to do with like the English language. Like when you're in the university and you're studying for 10 years, you're taking in rhetoric and you're taking in verbiage that is there to teach you the song of English. English is a song. English is a song. And this song makes its way into my head from places that aren't my head. I'm of the understanding that if I wasn't telepathic, I would be writing more often. And they've turned it off a couple times. It's always real pleasant when they turn the telepathy off. When they turn the telepathy off, I'm just left my own head. And it's like I started exploring my brain a little bit. And in the explorations of my brain, with my brain, like that's what we're supposed to be doing, is exploring our brains for the most part. So we're resting. We're supposed to be resting. We're supposed to be resting. We're supposed to be relaxing, meditating, sitting in poses that keep us from going to sleep so we can just lay in a relaxed, reposed position and meditate, saying prayers on a regular basis. Anyway, what I was saying earlier was the future, like the year 2800, if it's not there now, the year 2800, 800 years from now, we may be advanced enough to have telepathic communications, and then we would also have the ability to telecommunicate with the past. And it could be the future that's communicating with me, or it could be an office nearby, or I'm severely mentally ill and can still lecture like this. I'm severely mentally ill, but I can still do a 20-minute lecture. I can't do a 40-minute lecture, but I can do a 20-minute lecture. And I could probably take some questions at this point if you wouldn't mind in the comment section, just asking me things. Like, this is just a lecture. This is just a song that I sing for a room full of people so that they can understand thoughts that they never encountered before, like a man that looks like a man but is telepathic, a telepathic man. That's what I am. That's what I am to you. I'm a telepathic man to you. And even if I'm not telepathic, I'm still the type of person you call telepathic. So I gotta let you go.